cake people, welcome back. Today we are doing these lush galaxy themed cakesicles. I know you love the cakesicle videos, so I'm going to keep hitting you with more of them till you get fed up. So here we go, let's get started on these. Normal basic stuff that you'll need, and as usual everything's in the description for you, linked, ready to buy. So we're going to start by cleaning our moulds. Now I always wipe them out with a kitchen paper towel, one that doesn't give off lint. I've actually started the last few times using a bit of clear alcohol on it as well, because I find that it gets the mould really clean and gives you a nice shiny finish on your chocolate. So I did use a little bit of clear alcohol on this as well. If you don't want to use alcohol, or you can't because of religion or other means, then you can use a vinegar or a lemon juice. Just make sure that it's really dried off. And you really need to be thorough when you clean these moulds as well, because they really do hold on to any grease and residue. And try drying them off in the oven, just on a really low setting, or after you've used it, just to get rid of those watermarks, because they really do hold on to the watermarks quite well. Annoyingly so. So we're starting out with 5 colours for these. I melted down a 50% mix of white and black candy melts, and then I added in some navy colour mill. As you can see here, we've got a really rich deep navy colour, and then we've also got a teal, a yellow, an orange and a purple. These are all really small amounts. These were made with the white candy melts, and some of them are colour melt, some of them are sugar flare. I will note them down below for you. It needs to be a fat dispersible colour that you use though. Can't use the standard food gels. So we're adding a tiny bit of each of the coloured chocolates first, and then adding in the navy, and we're doing these one at a time. If you see my other videos, I'll normally do all 4 all at once, but the chocolate set's too fast for this technique and you need to do them one at a time. And then using the ball tool to push quite firmly into the bottom to give us that swirl, that galaxy look. And then I do place a knife across my mould when I've put my sticks in. This is to stop the sticks from bending downwards. I don't like the finished look when the sticks aren't level with the cakesicle. It's personal preference. I don't like it, so I put a knife across. That's the best way I've found to do it. Again, like I say, doing these one at a time, using our acrylic ball tool. I get asked about this all the time, and unfortunately you can't get this specific one anymore. But I have linked a really similar one for you in the comments, in the description. So hopefully that helps. So again, using all 4 colours, I experimented each time by using a bit more of one, a bit less of another. So I got a slightly different effect on every cakesicle. These were all individual. None of them were exactly the same when they're finished. I did do 12 of them. I didn't leave it in the video, but I did break a couple getting these out. So I do usually make at least 2 more than I actually need. And then obviously my kids just reap the benefits if there are leftovers. So yeah, I only needed 8 of these, but I did make 12, and I broke 4 getting these out of the moulds today. I was just having a bad day. I actually had my COVID vaccine at the weekend, and I am not feeling good for it, to be quite honest, guys. So here we go, last one. Like I say, all 4 of the coloured ones in first, then in with the navy, pushing quite firmly with that ball tool, and then using our angled spatula, or you can use a bench scraper or a knife just to run across. I forgot to put the stick in that 3rd one there, as you can see, so sliding that in now before it sets. And then these are off into the fridge for 5 minutes. And then what I'm doing is I am popping some additional chocolate around the bottom where that stick goes in. This is just to give it a bit of extra support and make sure that it's really well in there, and that we're not going to break our stick or our mould when we put the cake in a bit. So just using a spare stick to do that with, and sometimes I didn't actually need to do it with these ones, but sometimes I'll use a paintbrush, a fairly thick paintbrush, just to go around the edges again as well, but I didn't need to do that this time. But if you find you do, if maybe you've used quite a thin candy melt, you could do that. And now we're prepping the cake. So the cake I've used here is a chocolate cake. I'm putting it into my food processor to whiz it up into a breadcrumb consistency. You can also use a freestanding mixer, or you can do it by hand and break it up with your hands. It does take a lot longer that way, and you don't get quite a fine crumb. So once we've whizzed it up, we're going to pop it into a different bowl. And then we're going to add some buttercream in. You can experiment with different fillings. I always use cake, but you can use a brownie or a mousse or a truffle. Let me know what you've experimented with in the comments. I'd love to hear what you've done. So we're adding in our buttercream now. I don't need a lot of buttercream in mine. I did use a chocolate buttercream, but you don't need a lot for my recipe that I use. It's really, really moist. So, but everybody's will differ. So if your cake recipe isn't quite as moist, or maybe you've used a packet, you can use a packet if you want to, then you will need to add more. And you can see here it's the consistency of Play-Doh, which is exactly what we're looking for. So now we're going to fill our moulds. You can see at the top there I've already done one set. So we're pushing it down into the mould very gently, supporting that stick when we get down the bottom there as well, and making sure that we get it into all the little crevices so we don't have any holes or any bits left without any cake, because we don't want that when our customers receive them. These were popped into the post and sent down south to somebody for their birthday. They were ordered as a postal order. So I don't wear gloves for most of my work. I find it's much more hygienic to wash your hands far more regularly. If you wear gloves for a lot of it, you're tempted not to wash your hands. It's not as hygienic personally. So you'll notice I don't wear gloves for a lot of my work. I'm only wearing them for this bit because it's messy and it goes under your nails and it's just not nice. So we don't want that. So I do wear them for this part, but only this part. So we're being careful to gently press that cake into there. It might look on the video like I'm being rough. I'm honestly not. I'm being really, really gentle. And as I go around that stick, I am coming around the edge. I'm trying not to press above that stick. And you can see my other hand there, my offhand, is supporting the stick and making sure that it stays in place. Again, if you haven't used the method where you've put the knife over the top, your stick is going to be poking up and unlevel, and if you try to support it by pushing down on it, you're going to crack your mould. Now I'm just showing you here, you can see I've left a gap of 1 to 2 millimeters so that we can get a nice seal with the chocolate. So I just wanted to show you that little bit. So now we've got the chocolate. I melt mine in a double boiler. I've left instructions in the description for you on how to do that. I don't use a microwave because you're in, out, you're shaking it all about with the microwave. You're constantly having to redo it because the plastic bowl doesn't retain any heat from the microwave. So if you do it on a double boiler, not only can you keep the water on a gentle simmer and pop it on, off, but you can also, the bowl stays warm because it's glass or metal. I use metal ones. And you don't have to keep remelting it constantly in the microwave. So I've put my chocolate across the top here and I'm just smoothing it off with my angled spatula, and now I'm using my bench scraper. I keep my bench scraper in a pot of warm water and then I just dry it off before I use it against the Cakesicles, because you don't want the water touching the chocolate. These are going back in the fridge again for another 5 minutes just to finally set. And now we're going to demold them. So like I say, I did break quite a few of these while I did it. I don't know what I'm doing to the camera there, I'm really sorry guys. So what we're doing is we are pulling very gently to loosen off the mould around the Cakesicle before we try and get it out. If you go head straight into this and you're pushing it straight out without trying to loosen the mould a little, you will break more than I did today. So look at that finish, look how beautiful that is. I love how they came out, it's so pretty. So yeah, we're pushing around the edges, and then once we come to release the Cakesicle from it, we are pushing from underneath very gently at the top half, and then we are sliding that stick through the hole and pulling gently. Like I say, no two are the same. Okay, and then third one here, pushing from the bottom, and you can see this one broke. Wah, wah, wah. That was one of the 4 I broke. I was gutted. But my kids were really happy, so hey ho, silver linings and all that, and I didn't need the ones that broke anyway. See how that one's so much more different to the other 2? I loved how they all came out different. So here they all are, all 8 that survived. So don't feel bad, these take quite a lot of practice, so don't feel bad if you do break some. I broke so many when I first started. So now we're going to put our stars on. I used a silver luster. I wanted a silver for this. I do use quite a lot of gold, but I felt they had quite a bit of yellow in them, so I thought the silver would stand out more. So I'm mixing it to a mid thickness, not too thin that it's really watery and runs off, but also not too thick that it doesn't splatter. Okay, so, and then we're just literally splat, 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 splat all over the Cakesicles to get a nice galaxy effect, because that's what we're going for. The little boy that these are for loves planets and the galaxy and learning about our solar system and things like that. So I just went with the galaxy sort of theme, and I didn't do any research or base my ideas on anything I'd seen. I literally just decided those 4 colours will work really nice for galaxy theme. I'm going to go with that. So stay tuned as well, because I'm going to show you how I attach my bows to mine. But yeah, we're just splattering all of these at the minute. And I don't normally bother doing the sides, because you don't really need to for a lot of the designs I do. The splatter isn't the main look, but this one wasn't having any other decoration other than the bows on the main Cakesicle, so I did actually pick each one of these up and individually do all the sides and the top as well as the front of the Cakesicle, just to add to the effect and, you know, really make that galaxy wrap all the way around the Cakesicle. We're not doing the back. I've been asked about the backs before and how, oh, they, you know, they can look a bit rough or they don't look finished on the back, but there's very little you can do with the backs. They are going to look rough because of the nature of the way you make them. You could make a more rounded Cakesicle if you wanted to do the dipping method. I don't follow that method personally, so you need to look up somebody else that might use that method. That's where you basically set the Cakesicle in the mould with the cake, and then you release it from the mould once you've frozen it, and you then dip it in the chocolate. It uses a lot more chocolate because you need spare at the end. So I don't do that method. I prefer the way they look like this. And how beautiful are they? Those are my 2 favourite ones. That's why I picked those 2 up. I think they came out the best. They're so cute. So yeah, I'm going to show you how I attach my bows now. So I use pre-made bows. I get these on eBay. And Amazon do them as well. I will link some if I can for you. So I've got my little mini glue gun here, and it's on full high temperature, and we're just popping a slight dab of glue about 5mm away from the top of the Cakesicle. The glue never touches the actual Cakesicle. That's really, really important. So you can see little glob of glue, ready made, little bow straight on there. These are so cheap, guys. You can make your own. There are quite a few tutorials on here of how to make your own. I can't do it. I've tried, I can't do it. You can use a fork, apparently. You can use a fork to make these little bows. But to be honest, the cost of the ribbon versus the cost of just buying these ready-made is about the same. So save yourself some hassle. Don't feel bad about it. I'm not gonna. I sleep well knowing I bought ready-made bows. I really wouldn't worry. So yeah, a slight dab of glue, like I say, and then once we pop the bow on, I just ever so slightly push it upwards. But again, that glue is never making contact with the edible part of the Cakesicle. So all prettied up, all done, all finished. I hope you enjoyed this tutorial. I hope that Jackson enjoys his Cakesicles. Thank you for watching. Don't forget to subscribe, like, comment, let me know what you thought. Thanks guys, bye.